Welcome to the Hermit Life. My name is Dan the Catman, and I'm your host. I also host the Shelter Cats podcast, in case you may recognize my voice. But this is my new show, my spin-off show, my offshoot show called the Hermit Life podcast, where I discuss how you too can live a happy, normal, fulfilling, joyous life without really having to leave the house and being a hermit. So, welcome to my really my first full episode where I discuss the joys of being a hermit. So, normally my podcasts are, I guess, lightly scripted is the term. I do an outline, and I kind of plan out what I want to talk about, and then I have an outline, and I just kind of talk off the cuff. So I don't really follow a script. On my first few episodes of Shelter Cats podcast, I actually read from a script, and I found that came off very stiff and stilted, and I just didn't like it. So I do light outlines, and then I just talk from the heart and hope it comes out well. And if it's not, I delete it and do it again. But I did do my research for this episode because I want to get the point across that being a hermit doesn't mean that you're weird or a negative person or there's something wrong with you. Well, just this morning, just for big picture's sake, my name is Dan. I'm 50 years old. I born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and I currently live in Nassau County, Long Island. And I live in a 2-bedroom apartment in a house. I live under a very nice family. And Saturday mornings, I work from home. So I also work, not only do I live as a hermit, I get to work as a hermit because I work in my spare bedroom. And Saturday mornings, after I do my cleaning and I make a big breakfast for myself, I usually go upstairs and I'll have coffee with them. So, I do venture out on occasion. And usually on Saturday, she'll say to me, you should leave my landlord's wife will say, you should leave the house more. You need to get out and walk and be outside and be with people. And I very nicely say, I hear you, thank you, I'm happy. She always finishes that you should be outside thought with, you're going to get depressed if you're in there all the time. You're going to get depressed. So a lot of that, I don't get that very often, but and I know she means well. But my point is, I'm not depressed. I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. I'm content. I'm comfortable. I like where I live. I'm very comfortable here. I have my home arranged the way I want it. I have a lot of space. I live with my 7 cats, many of which are discussed on my Shelter Cats podcast. That's a shameless plug right there. And I'm happy. So I just want to, the point behind this podcast is to just get the point across that you can be happy. So I just want to share my experience over a couple episodes, which I'll do most probably monthly, maybe a little more often. I'll definitely have some guests on, some friends and things like that. But the title of this episode is, Am I a Hermit? I thought I was a hermit, but I did some research into what the term hermit means, and most of what I found kind of centered around this general theme that a hermit is someone who maybe lives like a monk, like they've removed themselves from society. They not only live alone, but they've removed themselves from society. They shun society, and they just live completely isolated from the rest of the world. So that led me thinking, am I a hermit, or am I a recluse? Am I a loner? The Reclusive Life podcast, that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. The Loner Life podcast also doesn't really roll off the tongue, in my opinion. So maybe I'm kind of a mixture of all three. Maybe I'm a hermit, I'm a recluse, I'm a little bit of a loner. I haven't shunned society because I work in healthcare, so that in and of itself is a position where I'm on the phone and I connect with people. So I haven't isolated myself from society. I interact with society. So maybe I have certain aspects of being a hermit without actually being a complete hermit. What do you think? Oh, by the way, I don't have social media set up for this podcast yet, but you can find all the Shelter Cats social media and reach out to me that way. So far, I'm considering this like a spin-off of Shelter Cats podcast, so I'm keeping them grouped together for now. So that kind of had me thinking, am I really a hermit? Maybe not. Maybe I'm not someone who has completely removed myself from society. I just like my own company. I like the company of my cats. I like being alone. And I'm 50 years old. I'm 2 years removed from a very emotionally draining 9-year relationship where 6 of those years we lived together. And most of that time we lived together she was emotionally neglectful, emotionally abusive. She was covertly narcissistic. And it took me a year of therapy to process the mistakes that I made and staying with it and the coping mechanisms that I employed to kind of deal with her emotional neglect. And I'm 2 years out of that. And ever since I basically caught her cheating and kicked her out of the apartment, ever since then, I've been far less social. I've definitely withdrawn from being social and being out and who I spend time with. I have many friends. I talk to friends. I text with friends. I do occasionally see friends. I've had friends over. There are many friends that are dear to me and dear to my life. But I'm not very social anymore. I go weeks without leaving the house. As I'm recording this podcast, it's nearly 4 weeks since I've left the house. I go out to throw out garbage. I go out to, I'll stand outside. I'll get some fresh air. But going out and doing stuff, no. So I think that aspect of being a hermit, as I understand the definition, removing yourself from society, being isolated from society, I think I have that aspect of being a hermit. I also think I have aspects of being reclusive in terms of I mostly keep to myself, although I have coffee with them and I see them because I live in their house. So I have aspects of being reclusive because I don't go and hang out with friends very much. When I was in my 20s, 30s, even my early 40s, I was much more social, saw friends. I was in relationships, I dated. And when you date, you go out and do things as a couple, and you go have dinner with other couples and go see movies and go, do a couple things, go out and do stuff. So I was social when I was younger. I also felt when I was younger that I didn't feel complete unless I was in a relationship. Ever since this relationship ended, I don't feel the need to be in another relationship. So I'm a lot more selective in the people that I spend time with. There is somebody special that I have in my life now that we talk and she's dealing with some stuff. So eventually down the road, when she finishes dealing with her own personal stuff, we talk about that we'd like to get together. But she's okay with being a hermit too. She's okay with the fact that I like to kind of do my own thing and keep to myself. So am I a hermit? Probably partially a hermit. I might also be partially reclusive. I'm definitely a loner. So I think I have aspects of all three. So even though this is called the Hermit Life Podcast, I think I have aspects of all three. So that's kind of what I wanted to discuss in today's episode. I think I'm a little bit of a hermit. I'm definitely a little bit reclusive, and I'm definitely a loner. And again, my theme is it's okay to be like that. It's okay to just want to do your own thing. I think being comfortable with yourself, being comfortable. No, what did you do this weekend? I sat at home. I watched TV. I watch a lot of YouTube. You have your shows that you want to watch, movies you want to catch up on, reading books. I read a lot of tech blogs. I'm on a couple of chat forums on Discord, on Telegram. I'm even on a WhatsApp group related to the church that I'm somewhat involved in. You can do all those things and be alone. And it's okay. It's okay to do that. I think being comfortable being with yourself is probably the most important aspect of being a healthy, well-rounded person. I know when I was younger, the thought of not having plans on a Friday or a Saturday or even a Sunday afternoon, I thought there was something wrong with me because of the surroundings I grew up in and the friends I grew up with at the time. You were almost made to feel like, oh, he's a loser. He doesn't have plans. Look at him. He has no friends. He's a loser. Now when I go out, half the time I can't wait to go home. It's just different. With age and with experience, you become comfortable being by yourself. And it's okay. So if you're home, I'm recording this. This is going to go live at midnight. I'm recording this Saturday, February 23rd. If you're home and it's a sunny day where you are, don't feel bad about that. It's okay to be alone because you have to learn to be comfortable with yourself. Or if you sit home and you're just watching TV or you're just doing stuff around the house, like every morning, because I have 7 cats, I clean. I vacuum, I disinfect things, I clean out litter boxes. So I have a morning routine, and when I'm done with that, I get my day started. If it's a weekend, I relax and watch TV, maybe do a little cooking. If it's during the week, I meditate for an hour, and then I start my day. It's okay. Just have your structure, have your life, and do your thing, and it's going to be perfectly fine. You can be happy. You can be fulfilled. So that's kind of where I see this podcast going. I'm going to go step by step in how I became this person, this kind of withdrawn, hermit-like recluse. Is it recluse or recluse? I never say it right. That's kind of where I see this podcast going. It's not going to be weekly. It'll probably be monthly, maybe 1 or 2 episodes a month, where I'll explore how you can live a healthy, normal, organized, structured life where you're home, you don't go out much, and where you'll learn that that's okay. And you'll learn that it's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to just go about life that way. So I hope that answers the question. Reach out to me through the Shelter Cats social media, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and tell me how you feel about being a hermit. Are you a hermit? Do you live life as a hermit? Are you okay with it? I love it. Every time I'm upstairs with them and have coffee and she, if you don't go out and take walks and go places, you're going to be depressed. No, I'm not. Maybe when I was younger, there would be a part of me that would feel bad about it. But at this point in my life, after what I went through with the last relationship, being home, being by myself in surroundings that I'm comfortable with is the best possible thing. I go out when I want to go out, and the rest of the time, I'm most comfortable being home. I'm not a traveler. I've never been, even if I had disposable income, which I don't, I'm not a big travel person. There's plenty of YouTubes where I could watch people travel and see the sights through their eyes and get the same experience without having to go to the airport, spend the money, go through all the hassle of getting there and lines and crowds and, is there bed bugs in the hotel and all that weird stuff. I could watch it on YouTube, and I could be home where I'm comfortable with my cats. So, to me, the hermit life means surrounding yourself with things that make you happy, make you comfortable, having a routine, even when you're home for weeks at a time like me. Have a routine, have structure to your day, and set yourself up to be happy. And you know what? Get a cat. Because cats are hermits. Cats love the hermit life. Cats love when you're home. And yeah, this isn't a podcast about cats, but I host the Shelter Cats podcast, and I'm going to talk about cats sometimes here. Even if you're a dog person, if you want to live as a hermit like I do, I strongly advocate you get a pet of some kind, because there's no love for this hermit better than unconditional love. So, am I a hermit? In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I hope that answers the question. And this has been The Hermit Life, and we'll see you soon in the next episode. Until then, enjoy your life as a hermit.